I was reading your questionnaire. I didn't realize that you were a certified yoga teacher as well.
Yeah, twice.
So
Twice.
that's twice. And what kind of yoga training was that you took?
Ananda. So
Ananda.
in the year 2005, Trishti and Naranjana and Navritti, actually, the three of them created the very first training, because the temple was going to be finished in 2006. So they wanted to have meditation and yoga teachers at that time. So we all took the training, and it lasted, I remember it was about 4 months, I think, on the weekends, and it was great. So that was my first yoga training. And then from there, I still was at the school. So I just taught at the school. I didn't teach at the temple because we didn't really have what they do now. We didn't really have like children that wanted to take yoga at that point. So I was just offering it at the school. And then eventually I offered it at a yoga studio outside of Ananda. But that was much later. That was probably 2014 or something like that, 15. No, it was 2015, because it was after my next training. So they were just always asking me, inviting me to, oh, come and do it again, Chandi, do it again, because they had changed the whole training, and they had revamped it.
I can imagine over the last, 5 or however many years, you've probably used and brought yoga into your classroom a lot, right?
Yeah, and this last year, I had always done my own yoga. And we had other teachers that came on board that were doing yoga for the other grades, but I always taught it myself, because it intertwined so much into the curriculum and the affirmations and using the affirmations, that I just really had my own way of doing it. And so I always did my own class. Then in the last year, so last fall, not this last fall, the fall before, they asked me if I would return to teaching preschool. And I had to think about it for a while. And they said, well, we would really like you to teach yoga to the whole school and art to the whole school, plus do preschool in the morning. And so I really had to think about it, because, 4 and 5 was like my niche. I loved that age group. I had built all this curriculum up, that I used from year to year. And like the letter stories and that Narani used, I used all those. And it was like starting all over again. And it was a tough decision for me. But the idea of teaching yoga to the whole school was a blessing, and also teaching art to the whole school was just a huge blessing.
Can you talk about that a little bit, about the receptivity of kids to both art and yoga, and maybe some of the ways you've worked with those two different modalities?
Well, I split them up. I had 45 minutes to teach a yoga class, sometimes 50. The teachers were very, very strict with me about my time. If I had done a yoga art class, it could have gone another, it could have been a 2-hour class, if you had done your yoga and then gone right into doing art. I didn't, with the older ages, I really didn't have that flexibility. I had to stay within a certain time frame. So they had yoga on another day and art on another day, but we would cross-reference some of the activities, like we made yoga journals, in art. We did, I remember some of the things we did. We did a lot of the spiritual aspects of like a quality that we'd take and we'd do art with that we might have used in yoga.
How did you find the receptivity of kids towards yoga? I mean, you can speak about any age group you're interested in or you like.
Well, you know, on any particular given day, you had children that were super excited and super not excited, you know. And there's, when I do the little ones, I do it a lot different than when I do, you know, the older children. The younger children, we move a lot, and I do it based on a philosophy that I learned called brain dance, and it's from a woman in Seattle who uses the brain and like associating the brain and doing yoga with it. So there's a lot of music, there's tapping, there's you know, you can do all the super conscious living exercises, of course, but it's just a very fast moving class, and you kind of have to keep it that way for young ones. But then at the very end, you do a calming, centering. I am rocking till I get real still. I mean, it's a whole class in itself, how to teach children's yoga, which I just finished doing a class, which you might get the video for, which actually might be really good for the website.
Well, you have a video of you teaching the class?
I did a satsang for the Seattle yoga teachers. Yeah, and we can get that video for you, and it talks everything about why yoga for children. And I don't actually sit and show that. It's kind of like an interview like we're doing right now, but
perfect.
I could do some short videos.
No, that's great, Chandi. That's a great resource.
Yeah. So anyway, and then in the older kids, it's a good 45-minute class, which we do 8 or 9 asanas. It's almost exactly like an adult class. But the idea is when you study what those ages really need physically, then you can offer the yoga in a way that strengthens their core muscles, strengthens their abs, that builds tissue. I mean, it just, and especially when you get boys in the class, they love that little competitive edge, you know, and holding plank for a long time, you know, it's great fun. It's great fun. So we do sun salutations with a cutout sun, and that's always fun. And yeah.
That's great. Those are great tips.
Then using art is just another love of mine, and that was challenging doing, you know, 4 different age levels. We did preschool, kindergarten, first, and 3rd grade, I think, but the 1st and 3rd graders were together, but still I had to kind of create things to keep them occupied, the older ones, because I had a couple kids that were just incredible artists, and so I really had to challenge them. So I think as an EFL teacher, though, you know, with mixed age groups, we're always having to do that, whether it's art, whether it's math, whether it's social studies or history, or whether it's, you know, science. You know, you've got to broaden your curriculum to meet those needs. So that can be challenging for an EFL teacher, especially if you've got gifted kids in your class, which for 2 years in kindergarten, I had, or no, 1 year, I had twins that were reading on a 2nd and 3rd grade level, but they're in kindergarten. So I still did everything, you know, on a kindergarten level, but I had to keep them active, and I had to give them more to keep them so they weren't bored.
Yeah.
Keep them growing and maturing and that kind of thing. And they were awesome in art. They just loved it. And Yeah, they had incredible focus. That's what art does for children. It really helps them with those things that we need for meditation, which is that inner awareness of listening and focus, is one of the biggest strengths in art. Even now, doing it online, I'm just amazed how kids are focused, how really, really focused and quiet they are. I'll have to like, I may not see them because they may be down on a table or, out of the screen view, but I'll say, "Are you there?" And they're like, yeah, I'm drawing, So they're really quiet, and it's amazing. It's really good.
Do you think with children and art, it's important about the techniques, or is it more about just the process of them exploring their creativity with art? Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like how working with children with art?
I have, I'm probably, my German side comes out in me when I'm talking about art. I have a very firm belief that you have to give them some kind of guidance. You have children that this happened the year I was teaching art. There was one little girl that said, "Oh, can't we just, just have a free day and just do something completely fun and different?" And, and I thought about it and I really meditated on it. I said, "Okay, let's do this for Valentine's Day. This will be really fun. I'll set out all the materials." I had different stations, kind of like when they were in preschool, and I let them go from station to station in creating. And I'll tell you, it was bedlam. And I did not get anything that I felt really was something that they had tuned into, that they were able to really figure out. I really felt that children actually really need the guidelines, especially younger. And when they become 10 and 11, they want to know how to draw. I mean, I know from being myself, I had a teacher when I was in 7th grade told me I was going to be an artist, and I just didn't believe her. I just said, "No way, I can't draw." That was the first thing I said. "I can't draw." She goes, "I know, but look at you with your watercolors, and you're putting colors together so gorgeously." I remember that teacher. I remember what she said to me, and it stuck with me my whole life. In fact, I ran into her at a wedding, and I said, "I just want to thank you so much. You made such a difference in my life when you told me that." So, but if I would have been able to draw and been shown how to draw and how to look at things around me, I would have gone a lot farther in my drawing. And I really, really, truly believe in training. I think that training gives them that foundation, just like it does in everything we do. And then when they become teenagers, they can take off. Their will is, "I know I can do this," their will takes over, and then they can experiment and grow. But I really, because if you, and I've done this, if you give children a lot of stuff, a lot of paint, they're going to make the blob. They're going to make brown. And I mean, that's okay. I mean, brown's okay if they want to make dirt, right? But they have to know, how to mix colors, what the color wheel's about, how to do warm colors and cool colors and composition. And they have to know that stuff because it just gives them depth.
So setting up foundations with them.
Yeah. I'm very different in that way. I really truly believe that. And I honor both, but I really feel like if I've given them a drawing lesson for right now, I'll say, okay, so we're going to draw this bird, but you can create whatever do you want your bird in a fir tree with pine cones? Do you want your bird in the tropics with coconut trees? Do you want your bird in the rainforest? I mean, so you are creating this way that they can tap in and create on their paper, but you're just giving him the foundations of it.
So you give them that freedom within the sort of structure that you create for them.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah. That makes
in these ages sense. It's really important. Yeah. I actually was a part of a group last year, and I probably will do this again if I feel like I have enough students that warrant the expense. But it's a program that a woman who used to teach at a school, she was really not even a trained teacher, and she was doing art, and she volunteered to do art, and then they hired her. She was going around she had over 450 kids in a week, because she was just, they were coming in her classroom in all different ages, and she spent all this time creating curriculum. And she said, there just has to be a better way. Something just came up here on my screen. I hope you don't see that.
I don't see it, no.
Okay. I don't know why that's happening. And anyway, so she created this online program where you, for a month, monthly, you sign up for a year actually, and then you go in and you can get her what she calls bundles. And her first bundle I saw online when she was advertising a free thing was India. It was like all the art from India, and I went, oh, that's so cool, And then she might have all the art from Spain, and you can do a history month, So it worked really well with EFL. She does nature, she does all these kinds of things. And for me, when I had all these different age groups, it broke it down so that I could do like a second or third grade project, or a preschool project, or a kindergarten project. And they were all done, and all I had to do was pretty much organize how I wanted to teach it.
She had it broken down into the grades or the ages?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And so you pay for like just a packet of, and you download all of it, and it tells you exactly how to, teach it. She has videos. I mean, she has so much resources, and it's such a wonderful program.
Can you mention the name of her? Or
it's called Deep Space Sparkle. Deep and her name is Patty Sparkle, and her name is Patty Palmer. This may not be for everybody, but it is for teachers who want to add it into their program. Now, I couldn't share this. That's the part. So, like, if the second grade teacher wanted to do something, I couldn't share the curriculum with her. She'd have to buy her own. So it's like one person can buy into it. So I was the teacher, so I could, do it in my classroom. So it was wonderful, and I'm considering joining again, just because I don't have to search so much.
Yeah, sounds like an awesome resource. I want to check it out as well.